Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. I've got a video for you today. This little fuzzy picture here, this is Tai Lopez. Some of you may remember Tai Lopez, and some of you may not know who he is. So I'll go ahead and tell you he's a bit of a self-help guru for a while. Some people called him a fake guru, and I'm not certain how you define that. Did the guy make a lot of money? It is undeniable that he produced a tremendous amount of revenue, millions upon millions of dollars. What we don't know is how much of that money he was actually able to keep, or how much of it got spent on other marketing ventures that weren't as successful. Stay tuned. We'll be talking about that. I'll be showing you some news articles here in a moment. Quick shout out to my Telegram. I think it was Lucky Dice, my private Telegram, that actually mentioned this topic, and I started doing some searching around, and I found the news story. So I wanted to cover this because Tai Lopez, there's a very interesting cautionary tale here. Now, listen, this isn't taking anything from Tai Lopez. I am not, a Tai Lopez hater at all, but I can see marketing, and I recognize what's marketing, and I can recognize that what's being presented as truth might not be the complete and full total truth. Let's go ahead and start watching this video. We're just going to watch part of this video. This is probably his most famous video that he has. 71 million views on this video. Listen carefully.
Here in my garage, just bought this new Lamborghini here. It's fun to drive up here in the Hollywood Hills. But you know what I like a lot more than materialistic things?
Tell us, Ty. What do you like more than materialistic things?
Knowledge. In fact, I'm a lot more proud of these 7 new bookshelves that I had to get installed to hold 2,000 new books that I bought.
Ladies and gentlemen, do we really install bookshelves in our garage? Like, is that the first place that we would install bookshelves?
It's like the billionaire Warren Buffett says, the more you learn, the more you earn. Now, maybe you've seen my TEDx talk where I talk about how I read a book a day. You know, I read a book a day not to show off. It's, again, about the...
Of course, he never actually read a full book a day. We understand that. And he actually goes on to explain that in a whole nother video another time. But you notice how he talks about, he just bought the Lamborghini, right? Classic. By the way, I am not hating on a guy buying a Lamborghini. I'm not even hating on a guy promoting that he bought the Lamborghini. But we don't know if he bought the Lamborghini, if he rented the Lamborghini, what, right? But a bunch of people get very excited. And I think what we're going to see in this story is not everything that glitters is gold. And again, I am not being a hater on Tai Lopez or anybody who wants to buy a big mansion, a nice sports car. You do you. That's your life. That is your business. That is none of my business. Another video that was pretty famous, he did this whole house tour here. Let's just take a quick listen to this.
Thought I would give you a little crib tour. This is where I live most of the time, work, my headquarters for business. I've been an entrepreneur since I was 19 years old.
A couple of years later, he started promoting that he was buying all these brands. He was buying Radio Shack. He was buying Dress Barn. He was buying Pier 1 Imports. He was buying Steinmart. And he actually was promoting people to come and invest alongside with him. And the idea was he was going to take these archaic brick and mortar businesses, but that were very well-known brands in their day, and he was going to convert them into very successful online businesses. Now, if you knew anything about Tai Lopez, you know that the marketing campaign that he was a part of when he was talking about the knowledge and the Lamborghini in the garage versus the house tours, that marketing campaign was insanely profitable for him. He made millions upon millions of dollars. And I think in the early days, he was basically teaching people how to be an affiliate marketer. And the idea was, let me teach you how to be rich and that sort of thing. He built this huge, enormous list and this enormous following with paid ads on YouTube. That's why so many people saw the videos back then, and many of you will remember them. But what happened on the other side of buying Radio Shack? At one point, Radio Shack was going to be a cryptocurrency exchange, we heard. What happened when he bought Pier 1 Imports? Because you would think a guy that was this smart with online marketing, you would think this is a no-brainer. He's going to run a bunch of big brand e-commerce stores, and they're going to produce millions and millions of dollars in profit. In fact, there's popular YouTubers who talk about how much they're earning investing with Tai Lopez, getting 15, 20, 25% a year. Well, let's look at where that's at today. Now, by the way, before I show you this, I want you to know I think Tai Lopez is going through a very difficult time in business. And I don't know if that Lamborghini was his, if it was paid for outright, if he was paying a lease on it every month. I don't know. I don't even know if it was his. Don't know if this house was really his or just someplace he'd leased. We've seen this sort of shenanigans online before, so I wouldn't be shocked if it wasn't really even his house, no matter what he said, unfortunately. But I don't doubt that the guy understands something about business. And what I'm about to show you shows that he's going through a very difficult time in business. But I have no doubt this young man, provided he lives long enough, he's going to be successful. He'll figure it out again. Like the guy's not. We probably haven't heard the end of Tai Lopez, and some of you will find that very unfortunate. I mean, it is what it is. Fun fact, by the way, Tai Lopez, or at least one of his companies, reached out to me to create a cryptocurrency course, education course at one point in time, and not. I ended up turning it down. They wanted to pay like $500 or $1,000. I thought if I create a course like that, I would sell it myself. But they obviously found somebody, and I wasn't the only one. I'm certain they reached out to hundreds of people. They found somebody to host a course, and suddenly I was seeing emails about Tai Lopez becoming a cryptocurrency expert. And by the way, I don't want to name names, AB, but there's several marketing guys out there that totally rebranded themselves to catch onto the trend of cryptocurrency. So you wanna be aware of who's been in the game through a couple of bear markets and bull markets. You kind of want to be aware of people's track records at least a little bit before you start following them, because anybody can write good marketing and rent big houses, so to speak. All right, let's go ahead. Let's take a look at what's happening now with Dress Barn, Steinmart, Pier 1, all those guys. Owner of Radio Shack, Pier 1, Models, in danger of bankruptcy filing, sources say. A flashy firm that has scooped up a slew of bankrupt retailer brands, including Radio Shack, Pier 1 Imports, Models Sporting Goods, is now in danger of filing for bankruptcy, the Post has learned. Miami-based Retail E-commerce Ventures, in other words, REV, great acronym, whose CEO Tai Lopez is a self-help guru who lists Bill Gates and Mahatma Gandhi as inspirations and charges up to $1 million a year for coaching and consulting expertise, has spent $120 million to amass a portfolio of aging retail names that also include Dress Barn, Linens and Things, Steinmart, Franklin Mint, and according to a source with knowledge of the firm's finances. But lately, Lopez and his co-founder, Alex Mayer, a former NASA scientist who helped orchestrate Rev's acquisitions after selling his Zoosk dating site in 2019 for $290 million. What they didn't say, he had a dating site. The dude was an incredible, or is an incredible marketer as well. They are opening their books of their privately owned licensing company to prospective investors for a potential sale of their assets, a bankruptcy filing, or Hail Mary financing, the source said. So we're trying to figure out what is he doing. They're burning through cash, said one source with direct knowledge of the situation. Rev's revenues and losses last year were both about 60 million compared with about 150 million in sales in 2021 and about 90 million in losses according to sources. It has racked up 200 million in debt, the source added. Mir and Lopez did not respond to multiple emails and calls for comment. And on Thursday, the Wall Street Journal reported that Rev has hired law firm Kirkland and Ellis to explore restructuring options. The company recently said it will pause payments on its debt, the journal reported, citing a lawsuit filed by a vendor this week. A major red flag surfaced last month when discount retailer Tuesday Morning filed for Chapter 11. Just months after Mir and Lopez paid $35 million for a controlling stake in the Dallas-based chain last September, the realization that an investment they made less than a year ago is not worth what they put into it could have implications for them because they have investors, said Adam Stein, portfolio manager of Pioneer Funding Group. It makes it more difficult for Rev to raise more funding, with investors who might be thinking, you guys just lit millions of dollars on fire. No kidding. 35 millions, and then files bankruptcy less than a year later. That's crazy. They may know how to market, but they might not know how to buy businesses. Lopez, who boasts some 8 million followers on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Snapchat, Facebook, has written self-help books, including his 67 Steps on how to become wealthy and happy, that incorporate the teachings of powerful, famous people like Bill Gates, Charlie Munger, Peter. See, this is so wild. Whenever you see stuff like this, you always know the person writing the story wasn't that familiar with them. He oftentimes quoted these people. He claimed they were his mentors. My guess is, unless they saw his knowledge ad, none of those people actually knew who he was. His 67 Steps was what he promoted. And if I remember right, that was actually where he started alluding to learning things like affiliate marketing. Lopez teamed up with Mir, an Iranian-born immigrant with a PhD from the University of Maryland who worked in risk and safety management of NASA's space exploration missions. According to security filings, at the height of the retail carnage in 2019, when nearly 10,000 stores went out of business, Rev snapped up the rights to the chain's intellectual property, shedding the brick-and-mortar locations with a plan to run them as online businesses. Now, unfortunately, they did this in 2019. What they may have ran into, I mean, let's just assume they were making good decisions up to this point. What they may have ran into is they ran into an issue with, I mean, COVID. I mean, that was 2020. So that may have really put a damper on everything. They shelled out $20 million for Pier 1 imports, $3.6 million for Models, and $6 million for Steinmart. They were a high octane they were a high octane machine that grew very fast, said one brand licensing executive who met with the pair early during their rise. Before buying Tuesday morning, Rev raised capital through a series. This is what could get them in trouble. They raised capital through a series of investor webinars over Zoom and email seeking accredited investors, mid-sized whales with a net worth over $1 million, excluding primary residences and income over $200,000 or $300,000 with a spouse or partner as defined by the Securities and Exchange Commission. By the way, ladies and gentlemen, this is an important definition for you to know if you're in the crypto space like myself. I do believe it's possible one of the attacks that could happen to crypto through regulations is they say that you can't buy crypto, similar to how you can't buy commodities, you can't buy futures unless you're an accredited investor. And if they do that, that's going to drastically hurt the cryptocurrency market. If that happens, I'm not saying it will, I don't know. Last July, Mir sent clients an email with the come on, me and Ty closed a huge deal to buy bodybuilding.com, a brand doing more than $100 million a year. If that's true, you got to ask yourself, okay, if he sent out that email, what happened to the $100 million a year? Get on Tuesday's investor orientation call if you want more details on our deals that pay up to 25% a year in monthly payments. 2 weeks later, Mir sent another email. Did you realize for every 300,000 invested, we will send you up to $60,000 a year? And on September 12th, we want to go in on Rev's private deal flow. Wait, we want to get in on, I'm sorry, want to get in on Rev's private deal flow. We already paid out over $25 million to investors. In the fine print, the emails also say that if you're not an accredited investor, you are not allowed to participate in the calls or the deals, and they warn you could lose some or all of your money by participating in off-market deals. The promotional emails appear to have stopped in November. This is where it gets interesting. Rev's methods for luring investors, in particular promising investors certain returns, could also land in legal hot water, said David Tawal, president of ProChain Capital. Federal regulatory agencies, including the SEC, are very sensitive to retail investors being sold hard with guaranteed returns without any substantiation. Meanwhile, a quick review of Rev's collection of retail sites signaled trouble, industry sources note. The now bare bones Modell site looks like it hasn't been updated for months. Football season is right around the corner, reads the first message after clicking the NFL tab, even though the NFL season ended last month. Other tabs that promise licensing caps, jerseys, sports regalia are completely empty. The few available offerings include a smattering of barbecue grill covers, t-shirts, and wallets with random sports logo. This is crazy, the storied retailer's former CEO Mitch Modell fumed in an interview with the Post. They are not able to get regular merchandise and are selling stuff from 2021. It's all outdated. Modell claimed that he was rebuffed by Lopez shortly after Rev scooped up the former Big Apple's mainstay brand for nearly $4 million in 2019. Modell said, I was trying to protect my brand, but there was no interest on his part. With all due respect, I mean, obviously this guy Modell, I mean, maybe they should have taken his help, but it was his business that was also going bankrupt when they bought it. These shoes were among scores of featured products and were sold out on the Modell's website. Rev made headlines in December 2021 when it announced its plan to rebrand century-old Radio Shack into a cryptocurrency exchange. This week, there was no mention of crypto on the site, which still promotes Cyber Monday and offers an eclectic mix of products under new arrivals, including guitars, ukuleles, and toasters. Last June, Radio Shack drew scorn when its Twitter account began using profane language and drug references, an apparent publicity stunt to draw attention to the fizzled crypto venture. You know what? See, I don't know if I buy this. I know several brands and individuals that have had Twitter accounts, Facebook accounts, social media accounts temporarily hacked with everything from porn to terrorist nonsense posted for a brief time. So I don't necessarily know if that would be a horrible publicity stunt. Maybe it was, but I don't necessarily know if I believe that. Elsewhere, the Linens and Things sites featured just a handful of comforters under the Bedding Basics tab, including 3 that have patterns. Pier 1's usually upscale glassware in China has been replaced by more low rent offerings. It looks like to me they're buying exclusively from closeout retailers like TJ Maxx and Marshalls, and whatever is left when they don't want merchandise anymore. A distressed debt and brand licensing expert who did not want to be identified told the Post. They have an amalgamation, I can't even say that, of old, mediocre, or not relevant brands selling so many items that are sold out or not interesting, the expert added. Their sales can't be very good. Well, there's that, ladies and gentlemen. So, just remember, the most important thing that he's ever bought was not a Lamborghini, and it probably wasn't Pier 1 Imports, and it probably wasn't Radio Shack. It was probably knowledge. Mr. Lopez probably needs to read up some more books on knowledge when it comes to buying distressed brands and making them profitable. Will Tai Lopez survive this? Without question. The guy's not a total idiot. Just because he may have some sort of shortcomings in one area doesn't mean that he won't be able to figure it out again. Let me know what you think. Did he finally get what he deserves? I know a lot of people hate this guy. Did he finally get what he deserves? Or is this going to be another marketing lesson? I can hear it now. What I learned when I bought Pier 1 Imports. What I learned when I bought, Radio Shack. I just can't wait to see where this goes from here long term, just from a marketing perspective. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Crypto Wealth. I believe in cryptocurrency. I found this very interesting only because he sold a crypto product for a half minute and pretended to be a cryptocurrency expert. I got a feeling Tai Lopez knew about as much as cryptocurrency and running crypto exchanges as he knows about Radio Shack and Pier 1 Imports, Steinmart, and Models. Thank you so much for watching. Decentralized crypto equals freedom. This is Crypto Wealth. I'm out.